Good evening and welcome to the North Rose-Wolcott Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. A motion, please, to approve tonight's agenda. Linda and Tina. Discussion. There is a correction I'd like you to make. Please turn to page 6 in your agenda. Number 14. In the last word of the resolution, it says July 7, 2026. That should be July 1, 2026. Any other discussion or corrections? Then all in favor of approving tonight's agenda? Motion is carried. We start tonight with presentations, and I will turn it over to you, Mr. Pullen, to make those introductions.
Thank you. So I see Mrs. Motika's here. I'm going to ask that she come on up to the podium and give her presentation there. So as you know, Sandy Motika has been a blessing to our school district in both her daily work as a teacher assistant in Cougar Ops program. She runs the hub where they work on executive functioning skills for our freshmen and sophomore, try to really be proactive and preventative. But one of the things that she's taken on last year as a passion project has been overseeing the Cougar Cupboard, and really she's done a fantastic job with that, getting the not-for-profit status, reaching out, securing grant funding, really expanding on that program. So tonight she's going to highlight that for us and kind of go over the benefits of having the Cougar Cupboard here in the district. I know it's something that's a priority for the board as we deal with a number of families that are impacted by food insecurity, and how Sandy and her team have just done such a wonderful job growing the offerings and continuing to make sure that our families get the supplemental support they need. So Sandy, I'm going to turn it over and let you start.
Oh, thank you. Almost 2 years ago, I was charged with this project of restructuring and reorganizing the Cougar Cupboard. And it's really hard to believe it's been that long. It's kind of a blur. We were so busy, hit the road running, but things have gone really well, as you'll see, and we'll talk about. But it is a little hard to believe that it's been just that short period of time. 2 years seems like a long time, but that seems like a short period of time to me with this project. So again, no major changes in our Cougar Cupboard board. Lots of staff members, some community members that continue to support us in our work. We continue to maintain our partnerships, not only with the Parent Booster Group, which is what allows us to maintain our non-for-profit status, but also our existingly valuable liaison and partnership with FoodLink. So we've maintained both of our programs, our backpack program and our food pantry. And you might not be able to tell it from the food pantry picture, but last summer and into the fall, we did get a little bit of a facelift under Jeremy Sebastiano's leadership, with some fresh paint, ceiling tiles, things like that. Implementation of some new shelving that I wrote a grant for us to receive. So we got a little spruce up, and it was definitely and sorely needed. All right, so Here's some data. So 23-24 was prior to our restructuring. As you'll probably remember me presenting last year, that year we only had 5 distributions of our backpacks. And last year we set a goal that we were able to achieve of 8 distributions. And so what you see is the largest number of bags that went home throughout those school years for the different backpack distributions. One of the things that I neglected to do was last year was, and I think with all the work that we had with restructuring, was to collect data month by month. So for this year, I was determined to collect some data month by month. So what you're going to notice is you're going to notice a smaller number in October, leading up through our larger numbers in April and May, for a total of 1,007 bags of food that went home with our students through the months of October through May of this year. And I'm going to come back to that October number in just a little bit, and we'll look at some goals that we have and changes that are going to take place that are going to address that lower number for that month. All right, so again, for our food pantry data, the 23-24 data, that was just prior to the restructuring. So you're going to notice the total number of children, adults, and senior citizens serviced, all right, with last year it being 140. And shockingly so, if we look at, and this date is reflective as of this past Monday, and that's why the asterisk is by June and by the total, because obviously we're not done with June yet. But again, we're going from 140 individuals serviced last school year through the food pantry to so far 349. That's a huge, huge increase. Okay. I'm also going to ask you to pay close attention to November, like October into November, and then from February and March and April, because we're going to revisit that topic in just a little bit as well, to look at the why behind that. All right, so in the fall, we had our government shutdown. We also had suspension of SNAP benefits. And so when you look at the why we've had the increase in our food pantry, that's the big reason, I believe, for the why back in the fall, back in October into November. Now as we go back to, and I'll just pop back over there for a second, February, March, and April, we had an extraordinarily long winter this year. And so as we look at those figures, you know, we've got increases in utility costs for our family. We've got rate hikes that have gone up, increase in heating, fuel, gasoline, food prices. I know one person that had reached out for food pantry assistance had actually said that they had never, ever asked any other organization for assistance before, but with the cost of their heating fuel, they had to make a choice of whether to provide adequate heat in their home or provide food, and so they chose to provide the heat, and then they looked at us to provide the additional support that they needed for their families for food. And we were happy to do so, and that's why we're here. The other thing that I feel like you're seeing this spring too is some of the new SNAP legislation has gone through. And so some families' benefits have been reduced. There's new work and volunteer requirements that go along with the SNAP programs. And so again, I believe that's some of the piece that you're seeing from the increases in our numbers in the pantry from late winter to early spring. And then the last piece is probably the most telling, is the fact that we've got many families that are requesting regular support because they're just struggling on their own to make ends meet. And so we're helping them bridge the gap with their family budgets to make sure that they can provide adequate sustenance to their families. So our food sources remain the same. Our best bang for our buck, as I always say, is through our FoodLink purchases. We've also, and on a future slide, you'll see some grant information from FoodLink. They get no cost or reduced cost food. They pass along that savings to us, so we maximize our buying power through there. We also do make staff purchases through other retailers for items that FoodLink just doesn't have available, because it's kind of an ebb and a flow with their inventory, and so we have to kind of manage that when it comes to our own inventory and making sure that we have the things that we need for our students for the backpacks as well as for our food requests for the pantry. We continue to utilize all of our community resources. Different organizations have fundraisers, and we also do event collection. So this really is not new information. It's just more of sharing that we've maintained that in terms of our sources. 3 major grants that we've worked with this year. The first was through Mrs. Pagliatti and her relationship with the Wolcott Rotary that I also attended some meetings and gave some presentations on. We wrote a co-grant with them. We continue to be able to participate with grants that FoodLink writes for us, and we're able to maximize with that, as well as a new one that was created this year between ESL Credit Union and the Wayne County CAP program. And that's a grant that I just closed out basically last week with a final write-up for that. So what you're going to see is you're going to see some totals here. So the Wolcott Rotary grant was $4,000. With FoodLink, roughly $7,000 of that dollar amount was actually for food. One of the recent things that we were able to tap into was some grant funding that they received for some personal hygiene and family hygiene products that make up the rest of that almost $8,000. And then the $4,530 was the ESL and the Wayne CAP grant. And the one great thing about the Wayne CAP grant was also is that we were able to purchase personal hygiene products with that money. Sometimes grants have like slotted avenues and items that you can buy. And a lot of times personal hygiene is not something that grants approve for you to use the money to spend for, but this grant allotted for that. So we've been able to provide things like bars of soap, laundry pods, things like deodorants, things like that that have come in very handy for families. So as you can see, all told, that's a lot of money that we were able to take advantage of through grants. And again, what I'm hoping that you see is the value of, not to minimize the impact of the other grants, but the value of our relationship with FoodLink. Almost half that grant money came from that revenue source. I'm also very proud to say that for the second year in a row, we have received the platinum rating for our inspection for the Cougar Cupboard. That is the highest rating that FoodLink gives. And so it's safety and sanitation and all the processes and procedures that we have to follow. So that shows our excellent status with FoodLink. So that was a personal goal of mine, and I'm happy to say that we achieved that. This year, we actually added in a couple of student helpers. So we continue to tap into our special education students in Mrs. Mahoney's classroom to help us pack the backpack bags. But there's a lot that goes on before that, lading out or staging the food, I like to call it. And so what you're seeing here is a picture of Cadence and Grace. Cadence is in National Honor Society, Grace is in both National Honor Society and Interact. And so they graciously offered to help not only with the staging process, but with working hand in hand next to our special education students when possible and schedules aligned and permitted to actually pack the backpack bags with our students. And Cadence, I've given her the unofficial title of my inventory specialist assistant because she'll always help me any day that I need it after school. We have some storage down in the basement, and so she's always happy to help me run things up and down the conveyor belt to get them out of storage or put them back in storage for the backpacks and for the food pantry. So that's why she receives that unofficial title. The middle picture that you're seeing there, that is one of our green bags that I'm especially proud of as well. That is the bag that we use for our larger backpacks for November, December, and then the week-long breaks in February and March/April. When we send home the higher volume of food, the food goes into those bags, makes it easier for the students to carry home, as well as it promotes dignity in that it looks just like any other bag that another student might be carrying. So here are our donors. This list hasn't changed a whole lot. We've got some new additions. I'd like to mention the Gold Stars by the Wesley Thrift Shop and the Parent Boosters group, because they've been steadfast and heavy contributors to our programs, and we very much appreciate their partnership, as well as the Apple by Cahoon Farms. I'm not sure if you've seen on the Facebook social media posts and things, but Cahoon Farms had agreed to, through our linkage with Rotary, provide applesauce cups and apple juice cups for every single backpack this year. So they get the instead of the Gold Star, they get the Apple Award. All right, plans and goals. So remember when I said, remember that October backpack number? Our first month with backpacks historically is a little low. Why is that? September is usually our administrative month. We get the forms filled out by families. We get them brought back. Sometimes families forget. The first backpack goes home and then they're like, oh shoot, I forgot. I've got to fill out that form. And so then we catch up with them into October and sometimes November. So we met as a board and we decided that what we'd like to do is we'd like to roll the enrollment of this year's program to next year. Internally, between my daughter Miranda that works at the elementary school, Mary Finn, who's our board member at the middle school, and myself, we will graduate, if you will, the students that move from one building to the next, and keep them in the program and communicate with those families that they're going to maintain that program, and then work out a way to make sure that our newest UPK students have the opportunity to sign up, as well as any new families that would like to sign up. And certainly if families feel the need that they'd like to opt out, or they feel like they no longer need the support, that's going to be an option as well. So parent square messages and things like that will go out to communicate with families with that. But I'm anxious to see, by doing that, what our October numbers look like this fall. I think we'll see pretty more stable and consistent numbers. All right, so another plan or goal that we have is to continue to expand on providing a variety of food types, and also try to continue our pace with the hygiene items. So one of the things that I was able to bring about this year was to purchase fresh loaves of bread, fresh gallons of milk to have on hand to provide for families for food pantry requests. And that was very well received. So we'll continue to do that, as well as expand on our frozen items. So right now I'm able to stock fresh frozen ground beef. I also have some pork loins that are between a pound and a half frozen, frozen waffles, some real meat pork and chicken hot dogs, things of that nature, things that are easy for families to prepare, but we can also provide in our freezer space in the pantry. So those are some really nice offerings that we'd like to continue to try to expand on. I'm also working with, and it's in its infancy, but working with another community organization on maybe partnering and doing personal hygiene giveaway to families, like maybe we're envisioning like a drive-through type option where families can come and get, quantities of toilet paper, shampoo, conditioner, things like that, body wash, soaps, laundry pods again. So that's kind of still in its planning stages to see if it's possible, but that's a goal that we have. And then with providing all of these great things, one of our other goals is to expand our footprint, because we've quickly outgrown our space. And so the need for that space is pretty great right now. So if you can picture, we've got all of this food laid out for our 134 backpacks, and then we get a food pantry request. All of our counters are full of food. Where are we going to put that? Where are we going to organize our boxes and things? So these are real life problems that we face, especially throughout that 2-week window when we're staging and packing backpack bags and things. So that's also a goal of ours as well. And I thank you, and I'm glad that I didn't have a coughing fit, and it sounds like for the most part my voice has held out. So
This
I'm
is
welcome
very
to any
impressive,
questions.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
It's certainly a needed service, but you're doing it so well.
Thank you.
And that's wonderful to hear. Any other board members want to comment? Linda?
Well, I just think it's great that you, as things cropped up, that you see a need for transitioning from one building and so on, that it makes it more efficient for these families that need it. You know, you really are working at making changes to help everyone. I'm thinking of some things that I may want to have a conversation with you about as some
Sure,
possible
absolutely.
help.
Absolutely.
So we'll do that.
Do you anticipate that those grants will be repeats?
There's no guarantee with that.
Okay.
So I'm always keeping my eyes and ears open, as are many other people in the district that share and pass along that information. I belong to some email groups where we're, in direct communication as well. I'm also taking my show on the road a little bit politically and trying to bring in some leverage with some of our candidates running for political office to try to help out with that and to try to bring more ability for people like myself to speak and educate different communities on the needs and what needs to happen in terms of legislation. So that's something relatively new that I just started to do. So because I think it's needed. The more the word gets out and the more people hear what it is that you're doing, then the more information and opportunities that get brought back.
It's all great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful to hear this report.
Thank you.
So thank you again, Sandy. As I said, you can see that last year when she took over, the passions paid big dividends from last year and then this past school year. And I'm pleased to say to the Board of Education, where Sandy's work leaves off, Rita's work will begin. So, we're very excited about this summer's opportunity to partner with Amazon and offer our students 7 days a week, seven days of service throughout the summer. So she's got 450 students signed up so far. So that's almost 50% of our student population that have signed up for that meal delivery service. When we talked with her on yesterday, she had mentioned she'll open it back up and there'll be a QR code in the boxes for more people to sign up. But she had to give her vendors a heads up on approximate numbers. So the fact that we can supplement meals throughout the 10 weeks of summer is really a nice testament to Rita. And so I know she and Sandy collaborate on things. So I just wanted to give Rita that recognition as well, because again, being the first in the state to work with Amazon to make sure our students have sustenance over the summer is a really good thing. So quick overview tonight, real brief. Just want to say thank you and congratulations to our retirees. Throughout the course of this past school year, you could see a number of people who've contributed positively to the culture and climate of what we're doing here at North Rose-Wolcott. They've made great contributions in the lives of our students. So we just want to say thank you to them as they head off into the sunset. Next Saturday, commencement's a great opportunity to celebrate with our students and our families, and for our staff in various buildings and in various roles. We don't often get together this time of year, so just wanted to recognize them and say thank you, and then put their names up there for the Board of Education. So lastly for tonight, just want to highlight where we're standing with our academic planning for summer. So, high school programming isn't finalized until after Regents assessments come in. So at that point in time, we'll really look at our credit bearing classes, our credit recovery, and our extended year offerings for many of our students in the 9 through 12 programs. But for us at North Rose-Wolcott, summer programming for our K through 8 population serves such a vital role for supervision, retention of information, and continuation of new learning. So and on the screen in front of you, you're going to start to see our elementary program will be offered 5 days a week. Middle school program, we give them that extra day off to kind of recover. We, as a district, provide transportation, breakfast, lunch, and make sure that the students are well fed and well cared for. And our focus this year won't only be on academics, but we're going to talk about the social, emotional side of learning, and then also continue to offer those enrichment field trips, provide our students with opportunities that we've talked about in the past, where transportation becomes a burden for families over the summer, especially if they're a one vehicle household. So as a district, we're committing to that again. And I'm really pleased to say thank you to our community partners. The Youth Advocacy Program will have YAP workers that continue to service our students over the summer. We've got family counseling on the Finger Lakes that will continue to provide counseling services. And then Wayne Behavioral Health will continue to provide services over the summer as well. And then extended school year program offerings for our special ed population will continue business as usual. And then again, something that I know Crystal and Nicole have worked on directly, which is the 8-9 transition, so that our students that are acclimating to the high school, I think they started with the parent information night earlier in the spring, and now they'll really do that hand-over-hand delivery to make sure that they're acclimating. And the one piece that I'm really excited to say is that, you know, a few years back when we stated it was a goal of mine to make sure our students left middle school with high school credits, they're able to hand schedule students in the most needy of cases so that we build in some breaks, because freshman year, you know, tend to be the one where the schedule's full and there's no opportunities for extended time. It's challenging to give them the win time, the what I need time. So Nicole and Lisa have been really working hard at looking at that, work with the counseling office to figure out the population that's at risk and see how can they come up with creative ways to build some gaps in there so that those students get the extra attention and support they need, because that freshman year is critically important in determining a student's high school success. So this program here, the transition week, in the past we've done it for a day, and we're going to offer it back up to a week and really try to get those students well positioned to be successful their first semester on the high school campus. So that's it for an overview. Later in the month, I hope to provide you with more of an update on what the 9 through 12 program will look like, and then some other happenings as June closes out. So questions or comments?
Anyone?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Glad to see all that going to happen this summer. Tina, has anyone asked to speak to the board?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Oh, sorry. All right. Paul, while you're coming up, I will read my little blurb that I have to read. Public participation is the time that the board has set aside to hear from residents of the district to express viewpoints related to the district. Bylaws of regular meetings and rules and public participation establishes the rules for this public access, and if you have signed up to speak, it is expected that you have read the policy and are committing to adhere to the policy rules. I remind you that the board does not hear personal complaints against any persons connected to the school system in public session, nor are there any forms of prejudice, obscene language, liable statements, or threats of violence tolerated. Public access is a time for the board to hear what residents have to say, but members of the board do not respond in any way. Speakers are each allowed 3 minutes. When you hear a signal, please come to conclusion. Paul, microphone is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. Superintendent Pullen. We're safe. It's all about thank yous tonight. On behalf of two organizations, American Legion, we're going to send 3 boys from this district to Boise State this year. I can't remember ever doing that before. And I just can't thank Nicole Sinclair and Lisa Vasselli enough. It's almost embarrassing when I go to a Legion County meeting. I hear so many of my colleagues say I can't get any. Billy Pinkerton and his transportation and the drivers, such wonderful cooperation, support, and safety. We very much appreciate getting our teams safely to and from our events. And then building and grounds. I used to be embarrassed at our baseball field. Now I get compliments. We get complimented on the looks of it, the appearance, and how perfect the markings are. So I just want to say again publicly, thank you to our building and grounds from all of our North Rose-Wolcott baseball support. I do occasionally get asked why we don't have a scoreboard, but I digress. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That completes public access. We'll turn now to the reports and correspondence. We'll start with the board liaisons to the buildings. The elementary school. That would have been Casey in the past, and our new person doesn't come on until July 1st. So is there anything at all that the elementary would like to say to us?
Sure. Just
Oh.
June is a busy month at the elementary. We had a great field day. Last week the weather was beautiful, and we're hoping for nice weather tomorrow for our Flag Day assembly at 1:30. Next week we have 2 important graduations. We get to say goodbye to our 4th graders as they move to the middle school, and celebrate all the wonderful things they've achieved at their time at the elementary. That's at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then at 1:30 we get to celebrate our youngest learners, our 4 PK students will have their moving up day and graduation, which is always wonderful. And then the last week of school we just have our school-wide moving up day and puppy club, so it's a very, very busy and fun June.
Thank you. I'd like you to know that the 4th grade classes visited the Rose Museum yesterday and today. 2 classes yesterday and 2 classes today. And they were wonderful students. They were interested and enthusiastic, asked a lot of questions, and they were just a pleasure to have at the museum. So pass that along to them.
They came
So-
back very excited to share what they did, so thank you for that.
Yeah. Middle school, Leslie, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, with June as being a busy month, everyone's wrapping things up and doing lots of exciting things at the end of the school year. So we've got field day for the middle school coming up. They have that next week, Tuesday. They also get to have a talent show and an assembly. So we'll see the fun talent. I've been years past, and the kids do a great job. They have their awards assemblies on the last day of school, so that'll be Thursday of next week. And then the 8th grade gets to have their moving up ceremony and their desserts in the gym and their fun evening to celebrate them. And then I also wanted to highlight just how many field trips they've been going on, because I feel like after COVID, everybody's kind of been recovering from that, and I feel like they've done a great job at the middle school of getting kids out. So grade 5 has gotten to go to Fort Ontario. They've been to the Seneca Meadows Education Center. They've been to Montezuma. I was also able to go with them to the Challenger that was really cool. I'd never been there before. I loved it. It was really fun. I loved the field trip. It was great. The sixth graders got to go to the zoo. Seventh graders got to go to the Rochester Museum and Science Center, and then they also got to do the Rose Lummis boat tour, or they will. I don't know if they've done that officially yet. Then eighth grade is doing Wonderworks in Syracuse, and they have a Darien Lake trip. So I think they've done a great job of helping the kids enjoy the end of the year and get out and see the place they live. So they've done a great job with that.
It's wonderful. And I have to agree with you, Leslie, that field trips for our kids are so important. In the city schools, they can get on a bus with their parents or somebody and go visit someplace. They can't do that out here in the country. So the school provides it, and I think field trips are a vital part of their education. In the olden days, that used to be the first thing they would cut, were the field trips, and this board has not ever wanted to do that. High school. Travis?
Yeah. High school students are busy finalizing end-of-year projects and classroom finals ahead of remaining Regents exam, which begin on the 17th. Anticipation is building for the class of 2026 as they prepare for graduation on June 20th. Senior activities kick off with cap and gown pickup this Friday, followed by an annual senior walk at the elementary school on Monday, and then graduation rehearsal and senior luncheon at the end of the week. We hosted our annual academic awards ceremony last week, providing a wonderful opportunity to recognize and celebrate our students' academic accomplishments, hard work, and dedication throughout the school year. Also, our students are looking forward to participating in our traditional Moving Up Day ceremony, field day, and class competitions on the last day as we officially close out our school year.
It is coming to an end, isn't it? Cougar Ops. John is not with us tonight. He is excused to attend another educational event going on. Mark, would you have anything you'd like to say about Cougar Ops?
I do. It seems like busy is a part of the theme for everywhere in the district. We're pretty busy. In our tutoring center, just for some end of year, a snapshot, we've had 63 external students, either in person in our tutoring center or receiving and participating in tutoring virtually with Lisa Rofo. In Cougar Ops in the Hub with Sandy and Sandy Motika and Darcy Guerra, we have 33 students. That's prevention, and we're going right up to the end until the grades are turned in, making sure every student passes every class on their schedule. And in credit recovery with Amy Plow and Sarah Cassini, our social worker, we've recovered 123 quarters of curriculum this school year. And we'll be going right up until the end, making sure all our seniors and our third-year students have everything they need to start their fourth year in high school next year.
It's just amazing. It's just exactly when Mr. Pullen got this going and explained it to the board, it was exactly what we were looking for. It's congratulations.
Thank you.
Mark, was it 58 internal students as well in tutoring?
58 internal students. We got one more today, so it'd be 59.
So it's 63 external and 59 internal in addition to the other numbers. So I'll do a presentation based on some things that I've asked that group to provide me with later on, whether it's later in the month or early in July, but just to kind of piggyback on the data and what we've thought we would achieve. So more to come.
Absolutely. Linda, do you have anything to report from Fort County, either Board of Directors and the Legislative Committee?
The Board of Directors is not meeting at this point, and the Fort County Legislative Committee is not meeting, but I do get information from NISBA about things. At this point, there's a number of proposed laws that have had either Senate or Assembly approval and may or may not go on. But there are instances where they file requests for a particular law in a one board, which means both of the Assembly and the Senate is in support of it. So fingers crossed some of them will get passed, and several of them that I didn't go through them because there's many, but next month I may be able to report what's actually in place now. So,
Okay, good. Travis, anything from District Safety Committee?
No, nothing for district safety or audit
All right.
committee at this time.
And nothing, Linda, handbook? No. We're all winding down ourselves here. Tina, communication?
All set.
Okay, or personnel negotiations, that's all set. Leslie, anything for policy going on?
We meet next week, so we'll have something,
Oh.
the last meeting for you all
Oh,
to take a
all
first
right.
read look at.
Good, good. Our student representatives aren't here tonight. They too are winding down their year as students in our school and as our board representatives. And we do have for them these little plaques of appreciation for spending their time with us this year as student board representatives. And their names are on it, and we hope that they will enjoy having those as we've enjoyed having them. So we'll get those to them. We come now to the consent agenda. A motion, please, to approve the consent, all right, before we approve, we need to go into executive session. A motion, please. Linda and Travis. The motion is to discuss employment histories of specific individuals, employees. Motion is on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We will be leaving and we will be returning. To open session, and we are at the consent agenda. A motion, please, to approve the consent agenda. Leslie, Travis, any discussion? It goes all the way to page 11. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda? Motion is carried. Does anyone have any board member requests or comments or discussion items they'd like to bring up? Or good news?
I have good news about you, I heard. I heard you were helping out Marion with their 200th
Oh.
celebrations. I happened to
What
be
have I
at
done?
their Ag Day event for
Oh.
work, and the Historical Society was glowing about how excited they
Oh.
were that you were coming to help them out. And things you had donated them. So I appreciate how you're trying to teach other communities too about their history and not just ours.
Marion is my hometown.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough to have people in my family who came to this country as indentured servants. So, and a lot of people did in Marion. So I come to talk about that. So
It was fascinating. I
Thank
thought it was
you.
really interesting.
Any other one? Anybody else? All right, well, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Linda and Tina, any discussion? All in favor? We are adjourned.